Hello, today's review is on the neat.pad and its companion neat.bar. We'll look at how to set it up, we'll look at what's different of this device, and at the end we'll also have a look at the audio, video quality, tracking, that sort of thing. Keep watching. I'm Paul Bloom and this is In My Humble Opinion. Let's talk about the neat.bar first. I have the bar here with me. It is a really nicely designed bit of hardware. When you look at the back of the unit, just looking at the hardware, you'll see power straight in there. That means that the power supply, the power pack, is integrated, built in. I like that. It's such a pain in the proverbial when you have an additional power pack to take care of another block of power, transformer sitting somewhere. We also have, of course, the usual suspects. We've got internet, we've our Ethernet connection there with USB-C. We've got a couple of HDMI ports, so it supports two screens, and then an HDMI ingest as well. The other thing that is quite remarkable is that this unit, as is, it's not particularly large, but what's really interesting is that there are no moving components inside. There are no fans in here, so it's super quiet. I'll get it up and running in a moment, but there's just some more magic in the box that I haven't told you about. For instance, there are sensors in this unit, and today, whilst this isn't quite out on Teams just yet, in Zoom, you come into a room, it auto reserves the room. You heard right. You come into the room, it picks up there is a human body in the room, and then it will auto reserve the room. Also, it will auto release the room. Now, whilst I don't have access to a Zoom backend to be able to test that, this presence sensor component that's built in here is ready to go. So as soon as it's certified for Teams and the capabilities in the backend are available, it'll be out. What I'd be curious to see, and I can't wait, is whether a meeting ends early, will it have the ability, once everyone's left the room, to clear the calendar? That'd be cool. I really can't wait. That is not all. There's more. This little guy also has sensors that determine the light in the room, so it can adjust to changing light conditions, orientation, that sort of stuff. But something that really caught me by surprise, that it has air quality sensors as well, so it can read things like the humidity and the temperature and the air quality, the CO2 levels. Now again, that's not been realized in Teams just yet, but just imagine. The neat.bar's been connected, it's on the Ethernet connection, it's found an update, and it's starting to download it. I haven't actually done anything, it's just found it and off she goes. Of course, the ports need to be open. Now, whilst the neat.bar is updating, we'll just turn on the neat.pad as well and go through some basics. We've turned it on, we've got to the phase over here where I need to choose a setup. How am I going to use this as a standalone or companion? So that's my choice over there. It also goes through little mounting guide options, how you're going to mount it, screenshots and illustrations on how you're going to connect it, where the bits and pieces go, how to turn it down and lock it in. Really, this is as easy as it gets. If you get this bit wrong, you got bigger problems. Showing us how to connect the different cables, how to mount that in there, tuck the cables away nicely. You cannot get it wrong. And then, of course, connecting our HDMI to our monitor, and then clipping on the bar itself to the little mount bracket, and it's connected and ready to go. We can now proceed by either changing the network or connecting to Wi-Fi or something like that. I'm just going to stick with my standard connection because I already have internet. Go continue. I can change the time zone, which I will do now. In the meantime, our bar's been sitting away, going through its updates, and gotten to a point where it's ready to pair. I'll just bring it back so you can see it. There it is. You'll see the pad has found the neat.bar serial number. As we can see, comparing, choose, continue, off we go, and the units are now paired. Proceed, and an update for the pad is next. Let's get on to that. So quick review of where we're at. We've had the bar run its updates, we've done the pad do its updates, we've got the units paired, and we're ready for our next step. Fast forwarding to the reboot, the neat.pad has rebooted, and it's saying to me that I need to check whether it's the correct bar it's paired to. Do I want to share analytics? Just going through some basic configuration, right? Shows me how to adjust the camera if I need to, just some final touch-ups, right? What I need to do next though is choose my platform, right? So I've got Teams or Zoom. I'm going with Teams, of course, and as I do that, I'll just bring the bar back as well, because the bar is connected to my HDMI screen, and you'll see both units are now installing Microsoft Teams. And I'll just fast forward to the end of the install process. We'll get both units to the point where they're ready. Launch Microsoft Teams. Now remember, these two units don't have Teams credentials just yet, and when I go launch, both of them will kick off the login process using the device login portal. Here's something interesting. Have a look at this. The units actually have different device login codes, so they're actually going to the portal independently of each other. That's quite interesting. Anyhow, moving on. So we get them all logged in, and after the usual process, we're up and running, ready to go. Once we've passed the authentication through, the units will then go through the process of connecting to the back end of Teams and signing in and so on. And I've forwarded this a little bit, put some speed on it so we can get to the end of it. Now there's one more thing that needs to happen, and you'll see it right here. This is the pairing of the bar and of the pad. So here we go. Once we get to this process here, the neat frame, you select the frame there, which it's discovered because it's on the same subnet. It gives you a code which will allow you to verify the unit on the pad. Pop in the code over there, and this will marry the two together, and this is required so that they can work as a team. Right, so just having a look at some of the settings. I'm not really going to go into anything that's common across all platforms. We'll just go to what's unique with Neat. Going into settings over here, the real magic for Neat is here in the audio and video, and there's a few things there. It is the individual framing, which is the default setting. That's where it frames up each individual when it finds them, and I'll show you a demo of that when I get to the actual demo part. And then there's this new bit here, subject boundary. I quite like this. This feature allows you to frame up the room. So if you have a glass room size or something, and you have people coming and going, and you don't want to keep picking them up as you're having your meetings, you can box up the active area, I guess, where people may be. Really good idea. Love it. Can't wait for that to no longer be beta. Let's get into the demo.
Okay, we're in a Teams call. Let's see how this beauty behaves. Now, just first off the ranks, I've got my PC in the back there with, of course, the camera is reflecting and picking up all the recording. So I'm just going to take that out of the equation, because what's going to happen is the neat bar is going to see that as a separate individual, and it's going to try and frame us up independently. So I'll just remove that over there. Now, while I'm setting us up, I do have a picture over here of my son. I'm going to put him over there, which is close, but, you know, like down from the camera. And what the camera should do is exactly that. It should find him and see him as a separate individual. And as soon as I take him out of the equation, it should flip back to recognize that there's only one person in the room at the moment. Now that person, which is being me, I'm going to move around in my room a little bit. Now, just a reminder, my setup is about 4.5 meters by 3 meters across is my room. I've got some sound absorption materials up here to avoid any weird readers. It's a pretty good room. Now I'm just going to move around a little bit so you can get a feel for the tracking in this room. Move my noisy chair out the way. I'll go on this way, and I won't do anything too strange, just the usual sort of moving around that I normally do. I mean, I can hop up on the bike as I usually do. And one thing I've noticed is with a neat bar, one thing I have noticed is it's pretty snappy at finding individuals. It's pretty quick in framing. It's certainly on the high end of doing that in an acceptable, smooth way without, you know, that strange delays. Look at that. It's pretty quick, eh? When I stand over here, I'm basically talking into this noise absorption, and so I'm expecting that to not sound too good. But who knows? We shall see.
So then, in conclusion, Neat's done a great job. They've made some great gear, good products. The bar, which comes in the bar, and the Pro, which is the larger version, is a great bar. clarity's good. The tracking for an Android unit is super snappy. I really like that. That's well done. And of course the pad itself has another level of clarity on there, which I really enjoyed as well. It certainly is a high-end Android room solution. Thanks for watching. I'm Paul Bloom, and this has been In My Humble Opinion.